Ever wondered what saints whispered as they left this world? On Catholic Snack, we reveal the final words of 32 saints. From ancient martyrs to modern-day heroes, discover the faith that sustained them, and meet a millennial saint who might surprise you. Stay until the end. Let's begin. Sainte Thérèse of Lisieux, a French Carmelite nun, known for her little way of love and trust. She died of tuberculosis at just 24, offering every suffering to God with joy. Her last words were, "I have reached the point where I can no longer suffer, because all suffering is sweet to me. My God, I love you." A radiant example of transforming suffering through love. Saint Maria Goretti, an Italian girl who, at 11 years old, forgave her murderer as she lay dying. She had resisted his violent advances, defending her purity with heroic courage. Her last words were, "I forgive Alessandro Serenelli, and I want him with me in heaven forever." A powerful act of mercy that transformed a soul and echoed through generations. Saint John Paul II, the beloved Polish Pope who inspired the world and helped bring down communism. He suffered greatly in his final years, yet remained a father to millions. His last words were, "Let me go to the house of the Father." A serene surrender that echoed the hope he preached. Saint Joan of Arc, the teenage peasant girl who led French armies by divine command. Condemned by political enemies, she was burned at the stake in 1431. As flames rose around her, she cried, "Jesus, Jesus, Jesus." Her faith burned brighter than the fire that consumed her. Saint Thomas More, a brilliant English lawyer and chancellor who resisted King Henry VIII's break from the church. Condemned for his conscience, he was beheaded in 1535. He said, "I die the king's good servant, but God's first." A martyr for truth and integrity. Saint Augustine of Hippo, one of the greatest theologians in history, once a restless sinner, then a saint. He died in 430 during a siege of his city. His last words were, "Your will be done. Come, Lord Jesus." The culmination of a life devoted to divine truth and grace. Saint Anthony of Padua, a Portuguese Franciscan known for preaching and miracles. He died in 1231, deeply loved by the people. His final words were, "I see my Lord." A glimpse of heaven at the end of a holy life. Saint Francis of Assisi, founder of the Franciscan order who embraced poverty and peace. As death approached, he welcomed it with joy. He said, "Welcome, my sister death. I have done what was mine to do. May Christ teach you what is yours." A peaceful farewell from a soul who had given all. Saint Clare of Assisi, friend of Francis and founder of the Poor Clares. She lived in prayer and sacrifice and died surrounded by her sisters. Her last words were, "Go forth in peace. Blessed be you, my God, for having created me." Her final breath was one of gratitude and surrender. Saint Padre Pio, a mystic friar from Italy, famous for the stigmata and his deep spirituality. He passed away in 1968 after a life of miracles and suffering. His final words were, "Jesus." Maria, a final invocation of the names he loved most. Saint Teresa of Calcutta, also known as Mother Teresa, she served the poorest of the poor in India. She died in 1997 after a life of radical charity. Her last words were, "Jesus, I love you. Jesus, I love you." A simple, tender prayer summing up a lifetime of love in action. Saint Bernadette Soubirous, the visionary of Lourdes, who saw the Virgin Mary at the grotto. She became a nun and died in 1879. Her final words were, "Pray for France." Even in suffering, she lifted her homeland to heaven. Saint Maximilian Kolbe, a Polish friar who offered his life in exchange for another prisoner in Auschwitz. He died in 1941, after 2 weeks without food. He said, "I am happy to die for God's sake, for my brothers." Ultimate charity lived in a death camp. Saint Ignatius of Loyola, founder of the Jesuits and master of discernment. His final words were a prayer he often repeated: "Take, Lord, receive all my liberty." A complete surrender to God's will, even in death. Saint John Vianney, the humble French priest who spent countless hours in the confessional. He died in 1859. His last words were, "O Jesus, let me live in thy presence and die in thy love." A shepherd's prayer from a heart given to his flock. Saint Francis Xavier, one of the first Jesuit missionaries who preached across Asia. Dying alone on an island in 1552, his final words were in Latin, "In te, Domine, speravi." In you, O Lord, I have hoped. A missionary's last breath was trust. Saint Edith Stein. Born a Jewish philosopher, she became a Catholic nun. She was killed in Auschwitz in 1942. Her last words, "Come, we are going for our people." A martyr of faith and identity. Saint Elizabeth Ann Seton, the first American-born saint, founder of Catholic schools in the U.S. Her last words were, "Oh, when will I see my Jesus?" A longing for eternal union shaped by service and devotion. Saint Kateri Tekakwitha, a Native American convert known for purity and deep prayer. She died at 24 in 1680. Her last words were, "Jesus, Mary, and Joseph," a holy whisper to the Holy Family she loved. Saint Dominic Savio, a boy saint mentored by Saint John Bosco. Known for his great holiness at only 15, he said, "Dear Jesus, mercy," childlike faith shining at life's end. Saint Benedict Joseph Labre, a wandering beggar devoted to the Eucharist and the poor. His last words, "My God, I love you," a simple and pure offering of love. Saint John Bosco, father to orphans, teacher of boys, founder of the Salesians. His last words were, "Love one another as brothers. Do good to all and evil to none. Tell my boys I'll wait for them in paradise." A father's blessing from a saint of joy. Saint Francis de Sales, gentle bishop and spiritual director, he whispered, "No longer I, but Christ." A soul emptied of self, filled with Christ. Saint Elizabeth of Portugal, a queen who made peace and served the poor. She prayed, "My God, reward your poor. Let them come into the glory of your kingdom." A royal heart turned to heaven. Saint Peter Claver, missionary to African slaves in Colombia. He spent his life among the sick and forgotten. His dying words, "My God, the souls, the souls." Even in death, he interceded. Saint Teresa of Avila, mystic, reformer, and doctor of the Church, she said, my God, I am all yours." A soul in total union with her beloved. Saint John of the Cross, poet and mystic, known for the dark night of the soul. His last reflection, "In the winepress, he pressed me, and I drank the Lord's cup." Oh, how sweet, suffering transformed into love. Saint Juan Diego, to whom Our Lady of Guadalupe appeared. He died in 1548. He said, "I know that I will soon see my Lady." A final vision of the mother he loved. Saint Francis Xavier Cabrini, the first U.S. citizen saint missionary to immigrants. She whispered, "Into your hands, O Lord, I commend my spirit." A servant's peaceful offering. Saint André Bessette, the humble doorkeeper of Montreal, healer and intercessor. His last words were, "Oh my God, I love you." Quiet holiness spoken in love. Saint Damien of Molokai, priest to lepers in Hawaii, who died of leprosy himself. His final plea, "Let me finish the Mass. Give me more time to love." Even in death, he longed to serve. Blessed Carlo Acutis, a modern teenager who used technology to spread the faith. He died of leukemia in 2006 at age 15. Though he is currently beatified, he is set to be canonized later this year in 2025. He said, "Mom, don't be afraid. Death is the passage to life. Something extraordinary awaits. And also, I am happy to die because I lived my life without wasting a single minute on things unpleasing to God." A bold witness from the digital generation, an inspiring sign of holiness for our times. These final words reflect surrender, mercy, hope, trust, and deep devotion. Which saint's last breath spoke to your soul? Share it in the comments. If you were moved, please like, subscribe, and share. Join us next time on Catholic Snack, where simple moments reveal eternal truths. God bless you.